to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. It's Power Talk Friday. I'm excited to share my conversation with Jean Brownhill with you today. Jean is the female founder who is disrupting a male-dominated industry. Jean had a challenging renovation of her own home, and during that, she saw the need for a free service to match people to vetted contractors. Sweeten, as in Home Sweet Home, launched in 2011, and today it has more than $1 billion worth of construction projects in the pipeline. The service has been called a renovation game changer, and Jean has been called the contractor whisperer by the New York Magazine. After earning a degree at the Cooper Union in architecture, Jean Brownhill spent a decade in design and construction, including in global architecture at Coach, where she won the Chairman's Award for designing web platforms to streamline retail construction worldwide. Just as Sweeten sets new standards for contractors, Jean is taking on traditional barriers for diversity and women in tech. She is co-founder of the African American Student Union at Harvard's Graduate School of Design, an organization supporting African Americans in architecture, real estate, and urban planning. She's a member of the 2018 class of Henry Crown Fellows at the Aspen Institute, and she's one of the few Black female entrepreneurs to raise over $1 million in venture capital and was featured in Vanity Fair. Plus, add to all of this, she is a heck of a nice lady, and I have no doubt that you will like her right away, just like I did. And before you meet her, I want to give you a reminder to specify any Kravet fabric, wallpaper, or trim, and you can get 10% off the order by using the code AWDB10. So if you have a nice project coming up that will require fabric, wallpaper, or trim, go out of your way to shop the Kravet line and see if you can net yourself 10% off on that next project. Open your trade account today at Kravet.com and then use that code AWDB10. All right? Now, let me introduce you to Jean Brownhill. Hi, Jean. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Hi, Luann. Thank you so much for having me.
I am thrilled to have you on the show. And I just have to say, I came across your company. I think it was through Instagram. And I was just like, ooh, this lady's onto something here. I need to know about this. And it's so funny because sometimes when well, first of all, you have almost 500,000 followers. So I'm sure I didn't discover you. And that's what I was going to say. Sometimes I will think, wow, do you guys know about this? And people are like, yes, I'm already using their services, but it was new for me and I was very excited about it. So I'm so glad that when I reached out that you were, willing to do an interview. So for maybe the 3 people out there that don't know exactly what Sweeten is, we're going to pick it apart a little bit today. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So here's the thing. What at its base level, what I'm seeing is that you have a designer trade VIP program where you are connecting interior designers with contractors. I mean, that's the have me at hello line. I'm like, what?
Well, and they're not just any general contractors, right? I mean, these are really well-screened, well-vetted general contractors that we've worked with over the years. We've done thousands of renovations. Like, these are great general contractors. And we have, a couple thousand of them at this point. And so whatever project an interior designer comes to us with, we can match it. So we've got, one designer who's got an 8,000 square foot home in New Jersey, and then we've got another with a 1-bedroom apartment or a small office build out in Brooklyn. Like, most interior designers that we have worked with say that they just don't have the depth of Rolodex when it comes to like really getting the right match for the general contractor for the project. Like, maybe they've worked with like one good general contractor a couple of years ago, but now that guy's busy. So yeah, we're here.
That's what I love about it. If I had a nickel for every time a designer said to me, "Can you refer me to a general contractor that you like?" And I'm like, "I don't know any." And the thing is, because it's not just, as you just said, it's not just, oh, I know this one is good. It's, will he or she take that sort of project? Is that project too big, or is that project too little? And will he go to Brooklyn, or will she go to the Jersey Shore? Like, it's tough to, that it is this big, it's like, I love looking at your site. It's like dating. It's like Match.com or Harmony.
Well, I'll tell you. So I had worked in the industry for many years. I was doing high-end residential. I went to architecture school. And I was, working like beautiful, beautiful renovations here in Manhattan or in the Hamptons. I was working with Coleman and Kravis, to give you an idea of like the size and scale of some of these projects, right? And so I had this Rolodex of great general contractors, except when I bought my house in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, like, one, like, they wouldn't even come to Brooklyn, let alone like do a project that was, my own home renovation was $150,000 in total. Right. And that was like, they were like, what? We just put in a $300,000 NANS order. Like, that's the cost.
We don't get out of bed for 150 grand, Jean.
And so it was out of my own experience of being like, now I know that there are great general contractors out there working in Brooklyn, working at this price point. I just can't seem to find them, right? I didn't have them in my own Rolodex. I couldn't find them online, and no one in my direct neighborhood or in like my colleagues had any good resources. So, that was really the first catalyst of being like, I want to solve this problem. I want to figure out how we get high quality construction and design resources to regular people. And that was really the first like, yeah, this is solvable.
Yes. What I love is, and this, I have to tell you, this was the other part of the story that attracted me to you, not just this face value. Whoa, there's a way to find a contractor that somebody has taken the time to vet. And we're going to get to that as your process for doing that in a moment. But that was the other part, Jean. I am always enthralled with any person that sees a need and creates the answer for it. So because so many of us go through something like that, whatever it is, and just think, I wish somebody would fix this. And, it's funny because I've been so fortunate in the course of doing the show, these 400 plus episodes, I've had two standouts come to mind, and there have been others, but two standouts come to mind: Anna Brockway of Cherish and Sarah Daniele of My Doma Studio. These are both women that literally, like Anna Brockway, I don't know if you're familiar with her, Jean, right?
That's great.
Right. And here, she was either trying to buy or sell a dining room table. I don't recall which one it was, to another state, either trying to sell it to somebody in another state or buy it from another state. And she could find the person and they could make their deal. But then all of a sudden it was like, well, how do you actually ship a dining room table from one state to another? Like, how does this happen? And she went through trying to do it. And it was just so absurd, the hoops that she had to go through. And that's when she said, like you just said, there has to be a better way. And Cherish was born. And so they take care of all of that white glove delivery for not only retail consumers, but for interior designers that see this perfect, vintage lamp that another designer or another consumer is selling 5 states away. And they can get it delivered, white glove delivery. And the same with Sarah Daniele. She was a working interior designer and constantly managing renovation projects and constantly developing systems and cross checks to make sure that the project was run smooth and things didn't fall through the cracks. And after doing it often enough, she just looked at her husband, who was a computer programmer, and said, I think this is bigger than just me running a project. Other people want this, and my Doma Studio was born. So I just speaks to my heart when somebody does this.
Well, and I'm sure it's not by coincidence, but the two women that you mentioned, I often see that, at least in female entrepreneurs, that they're solving real problems and that the technology is of service to that solution, but they don't start with a technology. They don't start with like, oh, this industry is a $300 billion industry. I mean, that happens to be true. The residential renovation market is a $300 billion market, but that's not where I started. It really was from that moment of just trying to solve something that was like an issue in my own life.
Exactly. And then because you're a smart lady and you did your analyzation on it, you're like, oh, and by the way, it's a $300 billion industry. Let's solve a problem here.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So here's the thing. A designer can come to the site. Of course, it's for the retail consumer as well, right? So we're not pretending anything it's not, but who cares? It's like I have retail clients at WindowWorks, and designers come to me as well. I give, there's extra level and value and service that I give to an interior designer because they're a repeat client, right? So the thing is that a designer can come to the site, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to post your project, you're going to put in the different things, the criteria that you need, and you're going to get matched. You're going to get matched with a contractor. And I want to go through that, but I just want to say, and at the end, the prize at the end is also amazing, that you are also including photography and coverage in your blog with this. Is there a fee on the end? I know I'm jumping ahead, but it looks like that's all included.
Yeah, that's all included.
That's just part of amazing.
Yeah, the virtuous cycle that we've created is, so the way our platform works is, and I think that we'll probably go into like the real level of detail of how we vet general contractors, but I will just say that, one of the things, we have a vetted group of general contractors that have all committed to working transparently. That means using our tools to actually conduct the renovation. So because we stay with the renovation all the way to completion, it's almost like a happy accident or like a really nice byproduct of that we collect a bunch of data about the project. So we collect pricing data in cost guides and all that stuff. Like we aggregate that information and put it on our blog in really helpful ways. But we also just get to see like the actual story of the renovation. We see the before, the durings, and for certain projects that we think, really have some value or folks will be inspired by, we will send a professional photographer to take afters. And then we publish, we do an original content piece on our blog every single day. And we can do that because we're doing thousands of renovations, all of which, like, it's definitely one of the like nice things about my job, as opposed to when I was working in an architecture firm and I'd have to wait, 3, 6, 9 months for the afters. Right. Every single day I get before and after.
Wow. Right?
Yeah.
And so when you talk about that they are committed to being transparent and putting all of the information, I just have to say, just a little red flag went up in my head. And yeah. I think you're going to have the answer based on our pre-air conversation, but I know all of our friends listening just went, heck no, Luann, stop this. Because he who shall not be named just went through all of our heads right now, okay? So what you're...
Oh, sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it's not a he, it's an it who shall not be named.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the thing about this is the contractor is committed and has to commit to having all of the documents, the invoices, the communication in the platform for the designer to access, but you're saying that you also can access it. So tell me what is committed to being in there, why you want it there, and the reason, that it's turned out to be the thing to do.
Sure. So, so many people have had experiences with general contractors that, have not been the best, we'll say.
Mm.
There's kind of a narrative
Hmm.
floating out there about nightmares working with general contractors. And so one of the things that both our homeowners and our interior designers and architects really like about the platform and the way the Sweeten process works is that we actually hold our guys accountable based on the fact that their communications, their signed contract, the estimates, we don't do invoicing as of yet, but it's something that we're certainly thinking about. All of that is on our platform so that if and when there is a problem, we also check in. So let me just back up for 1 second. Because we have your signed contract, we know your start date and we know the duration of the project. So then we follow up with you at the beginning, middle, and end of your project to see how it's going, to see if you have feedback about working with that general contractor. We want to make sure that they're doing a great job and that you are happy with the service. And so our account management team is there to jump in just in case things are, maybe not going as according to plan. So after doing thousands and thousands of renovations at this point, we have had a few, go sideways on us. And our account management team is able to jump in, understand exactly where the project is, understand exactly what's going on with the project. And then, we have like a whole system in place for really getting what we call the path to completion. So we want to make sure that project, finishes well, finishes strong, that everyone's happy, and that we get everybody back on the path to completion.
So here's the thing. A couple of things go through my mind. First is, part of why you were talking, I was thinking to myself, why did you add that layer for yourself? I can see us, I see the benefit to us. So what you're describing is if I am 3 months into a project that was expected to take, say, 3 months, and I'm having problem after problem, I can come back to you and say, this GC, not so fabulous, not having a good experience, yada, yada. And you're not reduced to, hey, let me ask the GC what the problem is and let me ask the designer what the problem is and see, if I can pick which one is really the rational one. You can go through and see all of the communication and evaluate as a neutral bystander. This is where it broke down. This is the accountability that we need to put in place. And here are the action steps that we want to take, like you said, path to completion, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And part of it is that we do that through our customer service layer. Part of that is we always are working to bring that into our product, ways in which people can just, be really clear about who has the ball, who needs to complete what, what decision, oftentimes there's like a decision point breakdown. So maybe that sink that you said would be on site by this date is not there, but the plumber is there.
Right.
Things like that happen often. So we're always looking for ways in which we can help, set clear expectations and clear responsibilities, whether that's in our product or in our customer service layer.
And so we're not
so wait, I didn't answer your question though.
Okay.
Why did we put that in?
Yeah.
Why did we? Because like this kind of goes back to the idea what I said before. Like we want to solve real problems, right? Okay. And when I look at a lot of the other platforms out there, they're trading eyeballs or email addresses, but not really helping you to complete your renovation. So we want to be at those places that you go to like learn or get inspiration about what to do for your renovation. That's great. But when you want to do your renovation, you should come to Sweeten.
Okay. And the thing that goes through my mind is, and I'm not 100% schooled on this, but entities like Home Advisor, right? Mm-hmm. That is just to make the distinction for me to understand it right now is Home Advisor is going to connect the designer with the consumer. They're going to connect the GC with the consumer. They might even connect it by the way you ask the questions, a designer with a GC, but that's it. The connection is done. Whether the process is good, bad, or indifferent, the only recourse is to go back on and maybe give a bad review. And what you're saying is you wanted to have an extra layer in your service and in your platform that was more meaningful than just actually having people exchange and be told about leads. Am I understanding it right?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right. What we are making renovations happen. We're not making emails happen.
Right. Okay. Understood. Because basically that's already available out there, just connecting a name with a name and an email with an email. So yours is taking it a step further, many steps further.
Yeah. And so the feedback that we get about our general contractors through the process, it actually works kind of similar to the ratings on like an Uber. I always hate to use Uber as an example, but it's the one that's coming to mind right now, where they cannot drop below a certain star rating on our platform without having that affect their deal flow from us.
Okay.
So homeowners and interior designers, and more importantly, our general contractors know that how they perform on a Sweeten project actually has a ripple effect all through their business. So as opposed to like, oh, okay, right, so I might get one bad review, or maybe they'll write a bad review or not, they know that Sweeten is going to follow up. We are going to get feedback from this interior designer or homeowner, and that will directly affect the deals that they get from us.
Okay.
So they are highly motivated. We've definitely had firms come to us and say like, ugh, I would have never gone back a third time to regrout that bathroom, but I knew it was a Sweeten project, so I did it because I couldn't have like risk the chance of getting a bad review.
Okay. So that's good.
And our guys, we do have women general contractors. Like the industry, most of our firms are male, so I find myself slipping and saying our guys.
I know, I'm trying to say both too, because there are women contractors out there.
There are, and I'll just say this small plug: we are actively trying to get more women general contractors on our network. So if there are women general contractors listening, please come to Sweeten and apply to be part of our network. We love supporting you and growing your business. So
nice.
It's tied to what I was going to say. A lot of our firms are what's considered small to medium-sized general contractors. That means they're on average booking less than $500,000 of business a year. And if you go and look, statistically, of all the licensed general contractors in the United States, 62% of the general contractors are in fact small general contractors. So most of the firms that come to us come and they're booking about that amount. Okay. And as they really start to understand how to work with Sweeten, how to be successful on our platform, we've had guys grow their business. They come to us doing $500,000, and 1 or 2 years later, they're doing $3-4 million a year.
Whoa.
They haven't added any back end support. They haven't had to open up an office. They don't have assistants or folks that are working kind of like in the office. They've just hired additional project managers, and that's because we're doing a lot of their sales and marketing. We do documentation, expectation setting around price. Like we do so much to support them and grow their business that once they're in the network, they are highly incentivized.
Wow.
To stay and do a great job.
That's awesome. That's really, really terrific. So the thing about it is before we start to get into that process of how you do select them, sure. I just want to go back to the elephant in the room. So we have where you mentioned that all of the contracts and the invoicing, and I don't know if you said these words, contracts and invoicing, but the stuff that is in the platform, is it just from the standpoint of in the relationship of the designer, the contract, and the homeowner? Is it just the contractor's information that is provided to the designer that's in that platform, or is it when the designer turns around and says, okay, contractor, you charged me $10,000 to do this and I'm sending an invoice to my homeowner for X? Is that in the platform too? Because that's what designers are. Okay, so that's what they want to know. Is my information in there?
No. No, this is just a system, as I said, to really make sure, we want to bring both trust and transparency to working with a general contractor. And so that is our main focus.
Okay. And so now if I am a contractor listening, because I know I've got Elizabeth Scruggs out there, she's a general contractor in her area, and Nicole White is going for her general contracting license soon. So I do know that I've got some listening. So as a general contractor, if I'm on the platform, tell me specifically what I have to put in there. So again, I'm going to ask that same question. I know that I've got my team of my plumber, my tiler, my UTA with XYZers, and that's going to cost me, $20,000 that I'm going to pay them. I'm charging the designer, I don't know, $30,000. I'm making this stuff up. I only need to put in there my invoice that I'm giving to the designer. I don't need my wholesale net invoices in there. But it's a place for you to say that's going rate, that's not going rate, that's crazy. Is that what my understanding is?
No, and if we rewind the tape, you'll hear that I said, and we're thinking about putting in invoices.
Okay.
And this is exactly why we are treading very lightly,
right?
To really understand what works best for everybody.
Okay.
So we are in the process of understanding it. It is currently not in the platform.
Okay. So what's in the platform now is that communication that I've asked you to bid paint for a 3-story home and retiling in the bathroom, and what's in the platform is the conversation about all of that, not the actual pricing or the invoicing for it.
Yeah, so we will. So the way the system works is that an interior designer will post their project on the site. We will then reach out to 3 to 5 general contractors that are in our network that we think are a great fit for that project. And we will just confirm that they are interested and available. We'll send it anonymously. They won't know any details of the project, but accept that they will know the timeline and the budget.
And the location probably, right?
Yes, and the location.
Okay.
They're matched based on the location. So those who say yes, then the interior designer will receive that general contractor's profile, again, anonymous. They'll be able to read past reviews, look at past work, and make a decision if they are interested in working with them. Only when we have a double confirmation, so both sides say they're interested and available to work together, then we make a match. From that process, we will help you facilitate your site visit. We will actually get a copy of the estimate when the general contractor submits it. Our goal is to get you 3 general contractors to submit itemized estimates for your project after they've done their site visits. And from there, we can schedule a call with you to do a bid leveling. We do free bid leveling services, so to really help you to understand exactly as close to apples as we can comparison of those estimates. Wow. And then you make your decision. So, again, we can give you, when we have that call, we can also give you some more details about our relationship with that general contractor, our working experience with that general contractor. And this might be a good time to just kind of give you a sense of the level to which we go to look for really great folks. So, because we've been in business for quite a while now, we started in 2011, and as I said, we've done thousands of renovations. And in that time, we've really been able to develop a sense of what makes a great general contractor in the Sweeten ecosystem. It's probably in the regular world ecosystem as well, but in our ecosystem. So we get the Department of Buildings in any city has a full list of all the licensed general contractors. We only work with licensed general contractors. So that is our starting point. We then have a way of looking at the publicly available information about them to reduce that number down to the folks that we would be interested in talking to and possibly recruiting. So in New York City, there are about 18,000 licensed general contractors. We boiled that list down to about 5,000 firms that we were interested in learning more about.
Wow.
We do a quick phone call and just reach out to them, tell them about the way that our system works. It's win-win. We're here to support you. If they're interested in moving forward, we will actually get 4 of their past references, so past projects. They need to have photographs that align with the project details, especially if we can find the permit information that link to the photos, the permit information, and then the actual homeowner that they talk to. So as you were saying before, like not their mom.
My Sonny is just so good.
Yeah. And then, once we've compiled all that information, if we're still really interested, we will do a 30-minute phone interview with them. And in that phone call, we're really looking for a few things. We're looking to test, we do some scenario testing. So to understand, if this happened, what would you do? Tell us about situations like this. What we're looking for is that they really understand that they're in the customer service business first, and then the general contracting business second.
Yeah.
And that is a key indicator of whether they'll be successful on the Sweeten platform. And then we're looking, obvious passion for their craft, some kind of like history story. A lot of our general contractors are first and second generation immigrants. And so they often have stories about, my uncle, my cousin, I got into this business because my grandfather was, a carpenter, a cabinet maker. So we're just looking for some like real deep connections to the work. Yeah. And then the last thing is that they have to be willing, as I said, to work transparently. They have to be able and willing to let us, monitor their progress on our projects. And usually, that is like one of those really great moments where you separate the wheat from the chaff. Some guys are like, no way, absolutely not.
Right.
And we're like, okay, no problem.
Right.
That's fine. Like, it's not a system for everyone, but the people who really are just so proud of their work are so happy. They're happy to be benchmarked against, the industry. They're happy. Like, most of our guys are in our office, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, trying to get more feedback from us about how they can improve their sales conversion, how they can improve their customer service, how they can, they want to improve. They want to submit estimates faster. They want to get jobs to be more profitable and done with greater ease. So, if they're willing to take that leap with us, then we really commit to, like I said, making them better in all different ways, some of which I've just described.
I love it. I think it's awesome. You know what's interesting in there is I wondered how you were going to tell me how you vet the GCs, because as I said to you, like their mom saying they're, pretending to be their client.
Or photos that don't link to an address, that the permit was pulled from some other firm. Like we've seen it all.
That's what I was just going to say. I love that. It's like when I hear it, it's so obvious, but I never would have thought of it. It's to sit there and say, okay, this is a project you did. Great. What's the address? Let me see that there's a permit that aligns to that address. And even Google Maps, does the house even look like it could have a bathroom or a bedroom this huge in it, right? But totally. I just love that, that layer. And what's interesting is it occurred to me as independent interior designers, that's something that every designer could and should do on their own. If they just meet a contractor at a networking meeting or something and the contractor is saying, I've got some references. I mean, you really can just take those steps. Can anybody pull the permit records to make sure that somebody who said they did a gut reno on a certain address, that there was a permit at that address established?
Absolutely.
See, I never would have thought of that.
Yeah. For sure. Every Department of Buildings, some of them have it online, which is super easy, but you can go down to your local Department of Buildings and pull. It's all publicly available information.
Yeah, that's that extra layer of being able to have, verify the accountability. And so the thing about it is that I also like the whole anonymous thing all the way through, because maybe I know a contractor's name or maybe I know a designer's name, right? And so sometimes we positive and negatively have a predisposition. But when we're just looking at the facts of somebody's project or proposal, it might hit us with more clarity. And then, of course, if there's, when you find out who it is, if you've had a previous experience or you've heard of previous reputation that wasn't good, you could come back to you as Sweeten in the middle and say, this is what I've heard about, or this is my friend's designer's experience with this firm. And sounds like there's there's a mechanism to handle that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we always would prefer that people just give us feedback, even if it's negative feedback, honestly, and be honest throughout the entire process. So it's, like sometimes homeowners and interior designers will meet a general contractor, and for whatever reason, it's just not a good fit. There's so many ways in which you need to align, not just on the technical, but on the communication, on the personalities. Like, there's a lot.
Right.
We would so much rather that interior designer just say, you know what, I'm probably not going to consider the estimate from that firm. Like, they have no chance of winning this project.
Right.
So let's all move on. That is so much more.
Right.
We would much rather hear that than have that person take, what is 2 or 3 hours to create an itemized estimate for a project that there's just no chance that they're going to win.
Understood. I like that, because there are certain things that you could understand could be a deal breaker, and it might just be the deal breaker for the particular client that you have in mind. And so, look, we're talking about Jersey and Brooklyn here. We're different here. We are different.
Well, we're opening right now. We're in the tri-state area. We're opening in LA right now, and Chicago and Miami soon. So we do service many markets.
Right. So if you're listening in future, this is, summer 2019. So if you're listening in future, these other markets are probably open. But, it occurs to me, look, there is a stereotype for New York, New Jersey, right? Let's be serious, right? And so the thing is that we all know, as the person who is the advocate for our client, as the designer who is an advocate for our client, there are just some contractors or some trades that are just too Jersey, that are just too, they're just like, yeah, not gonna work. Right? And so your point is don't make the guy go all the way through it if you just feel like it's not going to happen. You don't have to make it happen. You don't have to wait and get a price and find out, because it's like what I always say to my kids: don't make up a reason why you can't do something, because when somebody solves that reason, now what are you going to do? Right? I remember when they didn't want to go to a birthday party or something. I'd be like, just say, well, could you just say that I have basketball? I'm like, no, I cannot just say you have basketball. Just say, thanks tons, I can't make it. You don't have to have a reason. I cannot make it. I choose not to go.
And what's so interesting is that it actually, I think that people maybe interior designers, especially ones that are just starting their businesses, they think that they're being more courteous or professional by not saying it.
Right.
When in fact, it's so much more professional to just bow out gracefully than to have that person do the work. Just be professional. Say, we're not going to move forward. And, with Sweeten, you can just tell us, the unvarnished truth, and we'll then, package it up nicely.
Right.
But, in general, it's so much more, it's more professional.
I have to tell you, it's even subtle things. Like, I will tell you this, that if I go to hire somebody to work in my house and they're a smoker, I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? I don't, there's just little nuances of things that have nothing to do with the quality of the work that they could do. It's sometimes, to your point, it's just not a good fit. And so from your standpoint we would rather you just say, thanks so much, give me another referral. Give me another guy. Okay. I love it. So you have to address it. These crazy, weird things that happen. So, because that's what, in the end, you're going to be working together for a long time, probably months or even longer, and it all does have to fit. And so good for you. Okay, so what kind of information does a designer need to supply in order so that you can get a good quality bid from these guys that are going to be the ones that are in the running? How much detail do we need to supply, and what does that look like? Do you have forms so that we don't forget half the details, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so we do have a form. Obviously, the more information that you can prepare up front, the better. Especially working with interior designers, if you have floor plans or if you've done any drawings, those are really helpful. I will say that the vast majority of our general contractors also work directly with homeowners. And so they're used to not having projects drawn. Mm-hmm. So as long as you can have like at least a clear sense of what you're doing. So whether that's a written scope or work together with the general contractor to create that written scope. I mean, they're definitely used to just walking through an apartment or a home and lots of finger pointing, and they're taking vigorous notes,
right,
and trying to document everything that have been told. But the more detailed, as I'm sure your listeners know, the more detailed, the more specific that you can be, the less items that you'll have that are kind of placeholders,
right,
for cost.
And so I would think the process is very similar to when you're doing it without Sweeten in the middle of it, is that I might, as a designer, think I simply want to take this apartment and move the countertop in this configuration, move the stove to here, the sink to there, put a new ceiling in, put new walls in, new floor in, new countertops, new cabinets. And when the contractor actually walks the project, he's going to say, yeah, the sink can't go there. And so we don't care about that. We just, what do we want? And then it gets revised once there's an agreement and a site visit. Is that the case, right?
Yeah. So I would definitely recommend, your listeners going to the Sweeten blog to help set some expectations around, one, what's possible. Like anything is possible, but how much it'll cost.
Right.
You can move the sink wherever you want. Maybe not in New York City, but
right.
You can move it pretty much anywhere you want. It's just going to cost you, 3 times as much when you're moving the plumbing roughing as it is when you're just replacing the fixture.
Right.
So if you want to look, really professional again in front of your clients, I would suggest coming to our blog and reading through. We have tons of cost guides in all different areas because there's all different regulations and rules. So if you're in Fairfield County, Connecticut, we've got a pricing guide for you to understand what that kitchen or bathroom renovation costs. So that way, and this is one of the things I would say we kind of have a couple of general tips for interior designers to work successfully with contractors. And the first one is really just set a proper price expectation with your clients beforehand, because it makes you look really unprofessional or not in the know when you're saying, oh, great, your budget is $100,000. And then you promise them the moon, and every general contractor comes in and says, no, this is a $250,000 kitchen. You're just going to look like you didn't know what the real pricing for either the labor or the materials for the project. So really set real expectations for costs for your clients. It just puts you in such a good light when a GC comes and prices the project and it's within 10 or 15% of what you said, you look like a star.
Okay. And what you're saying, Jean, is that you have a ton of information through your blog that if you don't have that experience yet to really be able to set a good expectation, we can get that information and lots of articles there on how to sharpen our skills.
That's right.
I love it. Okay.
And then, my second piece of advice. So as you're starting to work with a general contractor, whether it's one that you've worked with before, obviously maybe you've already built a rapport, but if it's a new general contractor and you have not worked together before, I really suggest grabbing a cup of coffee before the project starts and get some kind of understanding between the two of you about, the communication style and about the expectations and accountability, and just really reinforce that you are on the same team. You want the same outcome, which is a beautiful project, because interior designers are, I hate to tell you, but you are only as good as your general contractor builds it.
That's right. That's right. They have to execute your vision.
Exactly. So really get them, to understand that you see them as part of the team and a vital part of the team, because sometimes, and I think it's like, a kind of a rookie move, an interior designer or architect will get frustrated with the general contractor, and then they'll go to the homeowner and say like, oh, this guy, or this firm, or they're not building it right. And that is not the place to direct your communication. You need to have a rapport with the general contractor, so that you need to take that energy and go to them and say, hey, listen, we are on the same page. I want you to look good. You want me to look good. Let's figure out this like shower curb detail together.
Right. I love it. I love it. It's so true. You have to be a unified team. I don't care who it is on your painter, tiler, window treatment person, GC, designer. It's like when parents fight. Kids don't want to see their parents fight. Homeowners don't want to see their people fight.
No, they don't.
Because it's anxiety producing. It's like, oh my God, everything's falling apart.
Exactly. And they lose faith in you. They lose faith in the process, and the ultimate product in the end will not have, like, maybe they'll think that home is beautiful, but when they remember working with you or working on this renovation, it'll be stress inducing. And you don't want that.
No. I love it. I love that idea, though, Jean, of having that communication, that meeting ahead of time without the client there, and to just, before you really, like you said, by the time you're in your second or third project, because here's what I'm thinking. I love your idea to have it before you ever work with them, right? Now I'm thinking, okay, so we've been through that one. I always say to the designers listening that they should do an autopsy of every project, internally. What went wrong? What were our costs? Where did we go down the wrong road? Where was there scope creep? Did we make money? What's our bottom line profit analysis of this project? And what's our evaluation of the way we handled it? What's our evaluation of the type of client that it was? Do we want to duplicate this project again in every shape and form? And if not, what do we want to do about it in order to tweak it to make it better, right? So what I love is have that meeting with that new contractor, and then I don't know, you tell me, I would love to have the meeting afterwards too, and say, what did we do well? What went right? Let's do more of this. We could work together again, or yada, yada, right?
Absolutely.
Love
Absolutely. It. And the third thing that I think is really critical for setting up, a really successful project is in that first or second meeting, really establishing what the end will look like. So how do you do punch list items? How do you communicate? Who's going to be building the punch list? Is it going to be the interior designer? Is it going to be the client? How the GC is going to finish out the work? And certainly if you want to have a meeting at the end where it's like, great, end of punch list, we're going to sit down and we're going to just like talk through what went well, what didn't go well on this project. That's fantastic. In fact, I'm going to add it to my number 3 for like, what does the end look like? Because the punch list, and especially when an interior designer is working on a project, the general contractor's punch list is typically not the end of the project for the interior designer. There's still all the furniture and all the kind of soft what am I forgetting? All the decorative elements,
the pretty,
all the pretty. All the pretty stuff still has to be loaded in and placed and staged. And so just having a clear handoff of like, okay, great. So after this date, you're not going to have any more plumbers coming through this project, right? Like a very clear, and this is when the work for the general contractor is done. I think that's really important to mark. And yeah.
Well, and I have to say that is where a lot of GCs look, it's where almost any business can shoot themselves in the foot, is not taking care of the nudgy things at the end, no matter what your business is. It doesn't matter if you're a designer, a contractor, a window treatment person, it doesn't matter. The thing about it but with contractors in particular, that's where when I say to them, would you use this contractor again? They're like, well, even if the process was good, the whole process was good, but I don't know, you see these sticky things all over my walls? They've been here for 6 weeks and I can't get them to come back. Because what happens is, we all know what happens at the end of the project. There's only maybe 2 or 3 hours a day that they need to be on, or maybe 1 hour or 2 hours a week, and they've started the next one. And it's like, come back and finish. Right?
Yeah.
And so you have that built in.
It is absolutely. It's one of the things that, we're actively working on, solutions that we can bring on the platform. But right now, I think there's a checklist on our blog for how we recommend handling a punch list. But it becomes tricky because it can be like rolling. It can be forever. And so that moment when you guys agree, okay, when these 20 things on this list are done, this project is done, that you have to have a way to really cement that, because, unfortunately, like grout does crack over time. Your house is going to settle. Like it's like a moving, changing thing. And for a GC to be able to move on and call a project complete, they need to have like a pretty specific. I mean, that's why God invented punch lists. Like, to allow everybody to
Good
move
on God. No, I hear you. I mean, and the thing about it is the key there is to set the expectation ahead of time, as opposed to the push and pull at the post of it. So at the end of it. And that's really an awesome, that's just a great way to look at any relationship that has to happen. And I love the idea of establishing who's going to do this. So a designer might say, I am accustomed to running through this house with my homeowner and creating a punch list and delivering it to my GC. Or I'm accustomed to the two of us doing it together without the homeowner there. Whatever it is, but to agree and to do it and to delineate whose responsibility and how they go forward, each of them after that. I have never, ever, ever in 37 years in business, Jean, had anybody say to me that they recommend a contractor and a designer have a pre-start meeting just to establish ground rules and communication. That's worth the price of admission right there. I mean, it's genius. I mean, every designer listening, if they don't have Sweeten in their area yet, and they're not going to be able to take advantage of your services, there's so much advice in here that they can really translate to any contractor that they get a referral to. And I just love it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we've done a lot of renovations at this point, and I always have been a big believer in sharing my answers, and anything that we learn, we try to put on our blog, try to put into our product. We want people to be successful. We want them to be renovating fearlessly, and hopefully we can help them directly through our content or through our service. But yeah, I will share all the answers.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's so good. It's so exciting. I'm extra excited because I told you at the beginning, I get extra excited when somebody invents something that like that. It's like, So, but this is really a pretty unique platform, something that you've developed here. At this point in the New York, New Jersey, Philly, Connecticut, that's your metro area now when you describe it. That's in literally real time spring 2019. That's your vicinity that you're covering. How many contractors do you have in your system at this point?
So we've got a little over 2,000.
Wow.
As I said before.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I love it. And you're now building out and going to be launching Miami, Los Angeles, and Chicago. And they're all coming through and be live over summer 2019. Is that what you're expecting?
Correct.
Nice. Very, very nice. What a job that must be on your team to keep. But of course, I hear you have it systemized and you're now just going off and duplicating it in the next areas. And that's how you scale and grow your company. You systemize it and duplicate it.
Yeah, that's right. And, we really see that, general contractors, they know their local markets, they know the archetypes and the housing stock, they know how to be successful in those markets as far as the actual, like in California, they know the seismic conditions, in Miami about the hurricane proofing. That's stuff that we're really excited to learn from them. But we're in those markets because the problems that general contractors have with sales, marketing, documentation, expectation setting, all this like general business stuff seems to be pretty universally a problem. They know all about hurricane proofing, and they still are like, I'm like, well, what tools are you using? They're like, oh, well, we use email. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness. Such a great concept. And I don't know that I said it, but there is no fee to an interior designer how does it work? Do we join, or we can just come in and dip our toe in for a one-off project? How does that work, Jean?
Yeah, so we do have a VIP section for our interior designers, and we certainly love interior designers and architects because we can continue to work with you on lots and lots of projects. In fact, it's been really nice. A lot of our New York City interior designers also are starting to do LA projects.
Yeah.
So we're supporting them on 2 coasts, which is awesome. But there's no fee to the interior designers. It is a fee that the general contractor pays. And like I said, the fee to us is really kind of the best money that they spend in building their business, because it's all on work that they've actually won. And yeah, it's they don't have to get a back office. They don't have to hire an assistant. They don't have to get expertise in sales or marketing or CPC or, professional photography. We've got them covered.
I have to ask the obvious question too. I can understand. Okay. The question is, I can visualize or imagine after 1 or 2 projects, a designer and a contractor working together, taking one of the, I can't see the designer's advantage in it, but the contractor does. And I also can hear you that you're supporting the contractor, but do you have people that now take it outside of Sweeten and they're like, okay, now you're my GC and I'm just going to call you directly? And what are the pros and cons, and what does that look like?
So the funny thing is not only do our GCs want to stay on the platform, the couple of times, recently I'm thinking about a project in Brooklyn where the interior designer was like, oh, we don't need it through Sweeten. And the GC was like, no, I definitely want to make sure it goes through the Sweeten platform. Again, we're providing customer service and support to that project.
Okay.
And it really, there's a lot of cost savings and time savings and headache savings on the general contractor part. They're highly incentivized to want to keep it on the platform.
And what does that look like? It's that if the designer has XYZ questions, that like how is it that the contractor is scaling his firm from 500 to 3 million by not growing the admin? How are you as Sweeten providing admin? What does that look like?
Yeah, so it's in the product layer, certainly. So the marketing that we do, the sales support that we do throughout the process, really making sure that the project continues to move forward. And we're currently, starting to provide them, as I said, on-platform tools to help them run their business. So, there are softwares out there that are kind of SaaS offerings. So things that help them to run their businesses, but our guys just aren't using those.
Right.
They're mostly using email and Excel and maybe some text messages here and there. And we're providing them a way to just keep track of all of their projects, not just their Sweeten projects, but really helping them run their business.
Okay. And the thing is that only can help the designer in working with a contractor that is utilizing your services, because it just sounds like you're helping them up level their business end of their game, in which case that could only be positive for a designer's communication and relationship, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like we want to take all the current technologies and tools available, and really, like, my goal is to not increase the amount of work a general contractor needs to do at all, right? So to me, when I look at most of what's been built, for GCs specifically, it adds to their workload. Like, I don't know if anybody knows, but being a general contractor is a really hard job.
Right.
And like the expectations of clients, they could barely meet them 5 or 10 years ago. And now that clients can, be on their phone and get, someone to do their grocery shopping, a car to show up, like all this magic happens.
Right.
And they have all these incredibly professional experiences through the palm of their, cell phone. We just want to make it as easy as possible for a GC to provide a really high level of customer service, a really high level and professional level of documentation for their project, but without having to do any more work. I mean, imagine if you asked your Uber driver, hey, can you make me a receipt that has the map of where we drove and the gas mileage that you used, and I'd like your name and your license number, and I'd also like, think about what's on your receipt from Uber. Right. There's a ton of information in there, but the driver didn't have to do anything.
He just shows up. He just shows up and drives. Right.
So really getting to a place where a general contractor can do what they do best and be super successful, but also have an interior designer or a client have a very professional experience with them through, our platform.
I love it.
That's the goal.
Amazing. You're a genius. You know that, right? So I give people hashtag smart lady. I have to start with the hashtag genius lady.
That's so nice of you, Luann. That's very, very kind of you.
Like I said, I just get such a rush when I talk to somebody like yourself that's just so darn smart.
Well, I appreciate it. That's very kind of you.
They find you, Sweeten.com. Is that what it is, Jean? How do the designers, get involved and start to hopefully work with you and get their game up leveled with good contractors?
Yeah, Sweeten.com, SWEETEN.com. And yeah, we look forward to helping as many of your listeners as possible. I'll say one more thing. We love projects with interior designers because they're so pretty and we get them tons of press. We've been in like the New York Times, I think like 10 times in the last year, Domino's Well, Architectural Digest, you name them, we've been in them, and most of those projects are ones that interior designers were a part of because they're so pretty.
That's a great element to bring out in that, because a designer is ultimately, even a homeowner interacting with a GC is going to have a well done project, but a designer is going to bring that layer of level to completion for photo worthiness to it. That is, is their superpower, right?
Totally.
I love it. And you know what we didn't? I just realized before I let you go, we didn't talk about, you have an incentive for them, the $500 for, tell us about that.
So we have a referral program that, if you refer someone, whether it's your project or another project that is awarded to a Sweeten general contractor, we will give you a referral fee, $500. And there is I'm trying to think of where it is on our site.
It's under the designer trade VIP, I think.
Oh, thanks.
Right?
Maybe we can link to it in your show notes.
I will.
People can go to it. But yeah, you can get a custom code and you can send it out to folks who you think might need a general contractor. And for every project that's awarded, we'll pay you $500.
And so to clarify, I can give this to a designer friend who I know wants to get a project bidded, or I can give it to a homeowner that maybe my girlfriend who is never going to use my services or any other interior designer services, but is looking for a contractor. As long as a match is made, you're going to come back and give that designer $500.
That's right.
That's amazing. Okay. I love that too. Okay. All right, Jean, let me tell you what, you're a rock star. I think that what you've done here is awesome. I'm not finding any downside to it. I really am not. And I've done my best to figure out if there was something I didn't understand that I would have to say, to, and I did not. So.
Well, Luann, right back at you. I think what you're doing is so awesome. And I was thinking, I was like, man, someone needs to do this for general contractors. They need the same kind of support in this kind of podcast, and you have so much great educational content for your listeners and your interior designers. Yeah, really incredible what you've built. So
well, thank you.
Congratulations to you as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I would say to you, I just ran a live event recently, a couple of weeks ago. And what was interesting is one of the sponsors that came to the event, the feedback was amazing event, amazing community, incredible lessons and takeaways, even though I learned that the direct interior designer is not my target client. He said, what he said to me was, but what I loved knowing was the level that they go through in the nooks and crannies of their business. And it really informed me on the way I can work better with the client who is my direct client. It turns out that his direct client is truly a window treatment retailer, right? And so there's a nuance there. But the thing about it is that I venture to say that if you were to suggest to the GCs out there to listen to the show, they might be better informed and better able to do successful projects with interior designers because they understand a little bit more about what their businesses go through. And yeah, you see?
I love it. Oh,
yeah,
I love it.
I'm just saying.
Maybe we should do, if anyone's out there and wants to give us some ideas on the reverse, so we definitely have ideas how to have an interior designer have a successful project from the GC vantage point. If interior designers have thoughts for us or ways in which, we can ask our GCs to work more successfully with them.
Right.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
Okay. All right. So we're starting a little joint movement here, you and I. I love it. Mostly I love that you are so interested in the gathering of the information and the collaboration. And like you said, in order to put it back out there and share it so that everybody benefits from it, both the consumer, the designer, and the contractor. So it's just incredible. Thank you, Jean, so much. I appreciate your spending your time with us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun.
Okay, seriously, are you with me with this new hashtag genius lady? I mean, right? You know that I have a soft spot for trailblazers in any industry. I just love it so much when someone has the courage to create what they know the world needs. And creating Sweeten, this is not your average creation. The attention to quality control, to the vetting process, to checking the details so that you can feel confident in selecting a contractor. I love it. And for the contractors out there, are you on Sweeten yet? Nicole Heimer of Curio Electro did the newsletter this week because Christy is in Spain enjoying her overdue honeymoon. And you know what Nicole said when she saw the show for today? She said to me that she has a contractor client who, since joining Sweeten, 80% of his business is through Sweeten. So I'm just thinking this is a home run. And Jen Ramos, if you're listening, I'm thinking about you and wondering if it's a good fit for your company. So whether you are a contractor and definitely if you are an interior designer in the New York, New Jersey, PA, Connecticut area, are you ready to go and start getting matched to contractors that you know have been vetted? I mean, seriously. Head over and sign up. And as Jean said, Los Angeles, Miami, and Chicago are all coming summer 2019. Go to Sweeten.com to learn all about it. Now, speaking about my newsletter, are you on my email list? I know many of you hop around on the show list and don't necessarily listen in order. And so what happens is that's all good for the content and the information. But if I'm announcing live coaching events or book signings or panel discussions that might be in your area, you might miss them. Not if you're on the email list, though. You won't miss anything. So to get on the email list, text the number 444999. Okay, so in your phone, text 444999. Then enter the word Design Biz. No caps, no spaces, DESIGNBIZ. Okay, 444999 Design Biz. Okay, that's it. I'm not going to start texting you. It's a service. It's going to just take you to get you on the email list, and that's it. All right. Now, the thing is, there's a lot going on. I mean, just next week alone, the Valerie Fun Decorator Show House is opening here in New Jersey. So we're going to be at the opening for that. The following week, I'm having a book signing at the Valerie Fun Show House and doing a tour of the house for whoever comes to see it with us. Okay. Then 2 days later, I'm off to Palm Springs to speak at the IDS ARTS conference. And then the following week, I'm going to Baltimore to teach a 6-hour training on shop at home window treatment sales. So if you're interested in selling window treatments and you need that training, go to my website and find out about that. Then I think I'm home for like 3 days, and then I head out to Napa for the Modena's Signature Kitchens event out there, okay? And then I think a day after I get back from Napa, the Vin Man and I are going to Mexico. He thinks we're going for sun and fun, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to sleep. So I have to go all the way out of the country to get some rest. Anyway, and the thing is that when I get back, I'm going to start to give some serious thought to if we're going to be doing a Power Talk Friday one-day coaching event in the attached to the Las Vegas market in the end of July. So if you are not listening in real time, you might know if I make that decision while I'm in Mexico or not. And I just want to say, when I was at High Point, a couple of people mentioned to me that they would be interested if we did another one-day Power Talk Friday tour coaching event attached to Vegas Market. So if you are thinking that that's interesting to you and you would probably want to sign up, then email me at info@luannigara.com, because it's only open to 15 designers, right? So if I get like 6 of you that say, heck yeah, I want in, well then hello, guess what? I'm going to do it. So anyway, all right. So get on the email list and follow along. You can always go to my website for updates as well. Okay. So that is it for today. Go off, be productive, be amazing, and decide to be excellent. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at luannigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.